Have you heard that American English is especially hard to learn? How is it different from other types of English? And what's hard about it? In this video, you'll learn exactly what you can do to learn American English and fast. I'm going to show you this 30-second clip of how crazy American English can be.
Consider the following sentence. The same letter combination, O-U-G-H, appears repeatedly throughout the sentence, but the sounds are different every time. Though I coughed roughly and hiccuped throughout the lecture, I still thought I could plow through the rest of it. This incredible inconsistency can make English really hard to master for non-native speakers. But what if English were phonetically consistent?
Whenever I see something like that, where I see all the inconsistencies, I see all the differences and all the crazy rules of American English, I get overwhelmed for you. Because, oh my goodness, this can be a very difficult language to learn. There's a lot of rules, there's a lot of exceptions, but I don't want you to get overwhelmed. There is a way to do it that's not so difficult. English follows the rules about 80% of the time, okay? Learn the rules for those 80%, and then the 20% exceptions won't feel so overwhelming. So when you learn that 80% little by little over time, then you'll feel so much more confident in those rules, that 80%. So when you see those exceptions, you'll be able to know that they are exceptions. So how do you learn the rules of American English? Well, you can learn through YouTube videos like you're doing right now. So congratulations, you're taking that first step. I go through the rules of American English pronunciation as it relates to pronunciation and accent in my program. I map it out in a very step-by-step method. So that you can learn all of those rules and have a very clear understanding. Okay, you can look for videos on pronunciation rules for American English in a variety of ways. Okay, but the important thing is to start gathering those rules. Gathering and understanding that American English does actually follow rules. And the more you understand those rules, the more clear American English is going to feel for you. Another thing you have to remember is it's not how it's spelled, it's how it sounds. So yes, it would be amazing if American English was written out phonetically, that we were able to know exactly how to pronounce things based on the spelling, but we can't. So American English is what it is. So what we have to do is rely more on the way it sounds. Okay, so imitation is a really important way to be able to improve your spoken English. Listen to how native English speakers say things and repeat it that same way. So focus less about the spelling and more about the way it sounds. So this really is how kids learn. They learn by listening and repeating. The students that I have in my program that make the fastest progress don't focus so much on the written language as they do the spoken language. So they're listening to podcasts, they're listening to music, they're repeating, they're practicing along with it. Okay, it's that listen and repeat method that kids do so well, and us as adults, we tend to rely very heavily on the print and not so much on the sound. So when you rely on that sound, it's going to make much more sense. Understanding the rules and getting your awareness there of just understanding why American English sounds the way it does is a really good first step to being able to hear those things that maybe you might not hear now, but the more you dive into the rules, the more you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's what that is. Or I never noticed that, but now that you pointed out to me, now I'm seeing it all over the place. Okay, that's the power of understanding those rules, that 80% of American English. One example of a word that I saw for the first time written as an adult. Maybe I saw it as a child, but it didn't register to me. But I remember seeing this as an adult, the word kernel, okay? Kernel, it's spelled like this, but it's pronounced kernel, okay? So the spelling has nothing to do, or very little to do, with the way it's pronounced. And that can be very, very confusing. And for me, I knew the word kernel just needed to be pronounced as kernel because I had heard it, spoken over and over again. And then once I saw it in print, it kind of blew my mind. So I'm sure you have this experience over and over and over again while learning American English. And I'm sorry for that. I wish it were different. But what we can do is rely heavily on that listening piece more so than we do the spelling piece. So let's go back to our original question. Is American English easy or more difficult to learn? Okay. I like it to compare it to learning a musical instrument. So let's say piano. My oldest son plays the piano. So he's practicing all the time in our house, and I'm hearing him practice. And I think that learning American English is very similar to learning a musical instrument. You can't learn to play the piano by reading a book. You have to actually sit at a piano and move your fingers and play the keys to learn that skill. There's a motor movement in your hands that has to happen. The same goes for your pronunciation. You have to speak out loud. You have to use your voice. You have to actually use it. You can't just read about American English. You can't just understand the rules. You have to actually use it. You have to use deliberate practice, just like my son does on the piano. He's working with a teacher, he's learning the rules, he's practicing things over and over and over again. You have to do the same thing with your spoken English. You have to speak out loud, you have to focus on the sounds and the rhythm. You have to learn the rules and then practice applying them. Start by just slowing down. You know more than you think, okay? I've noticed this time and time again is that my students will come to me and they'll be like, my English is terrible. And then I have them just slow down, pay attention, focus on correcting themselves, and they do so much better because their awareness is there, their focus is there. They're doing that deliberate practice. So if you slow down and give your brain time to hear yourself, you'll actually catch many of your own mistakes. Then you can take that to the next level and record yourself speaking and then listen back. So as you record yourself, you'll catch even more of your mistakes. If you know how to correct those mistakes, then go ahead and try again. Correct them, try again. If you don't have that awareness and that understanding of how American English works, then that's where you need to start, okay? It's by learning those rules, learning the mouth position, and all of that. It is not difficult to learn the American accent, but it's also not easy either. There is a simple process of learning the sounds and the rhythm of American English. It's actually quite simple, but the difficult part is simply the consistency, the repetition that's required to achieve it. Okay, the path is simple, but you have to do it consistently, little by little over time. And one of my favorite sayings is, if it were easy, everyone would do it. And because it's not, it gives you an incredible advantage. If you're curious about some of the specifics of American accent training, go ahead and check out my next video, Is it S or is it Z? And learning more of these American English pronunciation rules.